All right. So the red light came on. I got to tell you, a lot of people bail because they're so nervous. I mean, how are you feeling? Do you want to go through with the interview? You want to go forward?
Yes, yes, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. All right. We're
I'm
going
an
forward.
actress, so I'm used with that.
The red light means nothing. I'm good. This is what I wait for.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, before we jump, we're going to jump in here. Why don't you tell my listeners who you are and what your project is?
Yes. So my name is Marine Assaiante. I'm originally from France, but I've been living in New York for 10 years now. Yes, that was my
Nice.
anniversary.
Nice.
And I'm a filmmaker. I'm a producer. I do produce film and feature content. And I was also an actress. I'm still doing it a little bit, but mostly producing right now. So, yes. And I have this amazing project, a feature film, a horror, vampire horror
Mm.
called A Dream for Amy.
That's awesome. Well, let's go to the origin story of this. So where did this idea kind of come from and how did it kind of come to fruition?
Yeah, so I'm not the writer of this film. Julia St. Pierre is the screenwriter and director. So she came to me, I think, about a year ago, pretty much, and she had this idea. I mean, we knew each other a little bit, not that much, but same kind of circle. And she really wanted a woman producer to help her out. And so I read the script, and I loved I loved the pitch, and I loved the script, and the fact that it's three female main characters. Love that. It's very female driven. And yeah, I was like, let's do this. Let's jump in. So we kind of, I pulled out a plan how to do that. And I just did a previous fundraising on Wefunder with my first feature film called Her Song the year before. So I was like, I think that's a good way to raise money and get traction. So yeah, we decided to do a crowdfunding campaign and then to do the WeFunder fundraising.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's that kind of this? Is there a theme to the story? I mean, I read something about maybe loosely on narcissistic parenting,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
So but is there, probably a little bit
yeah.
more detail you might have than I have.
The pitch is it's pretty much so a young woman tries to save her friend Amy from the clutches of her vampiristic mother. So yeah, she's it's in a small town in actually we filmed in Beacon, New York to get that vibe, which is a beautiful town. And yeah, it's really about this, mother-daughter relationship, and Julia really got her inspiration by like, okay, vampirism is really a metaphor for narcissistic parenting.
Hmm.
So the vampire really uses her own daughter as a source of food, and the friend is seeing that something is wrong going on or what's going on across the street, and then she tries to save her. Yes. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Where between your guys' partnership, like where do you kind of tasks start and stop, between yourself and your partner, Julia? Where do you guys kind of pick up each other's
yeah.
worlds and just kind of what's the working relationship look like?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like to be frank, like it was very smooth from the beginning. Like she's the screenwriter, so I had nothing to do with the script. Like it's not, that's her job. We produced together, so I was really mainly focusing on fundraising, on getting the money, talking to investors. She was more in charge of getting the crew and cast together. I was more in charge of I've been in charge of the budget, we'll say, all money related stuff. I was on set with them. So we filmed actually the first 2 weeks of September in New York. So
Oh,
we
okay.
actually we're done with the production part, and we're still raising money for post-production marketing now. But we're done with the production, which is it's great because we've done it. It's here. We made it. And so I was also on set with them because she's also an actress in the movie. So I was making sure, I was just a producer there, making sure everything was smooth and, being there for, just to make sure everything is going well.
Sure, sure. So what, for people out there who have never made a movie, don't know how movies work, like how does not just the fundraising work, but just how do you make money in a vampire horror movie?
Yes.
What does that look like?
Yeah. So it's a very low budget film. And I think that's the key because, investing in film, I'm going to be pretty straightforward. It's risky. It's not like
Hmm.
a very safe investment.
Yeah.
I think it's it's your 10% fun investment that you really do for fun. Usually investors who really wants to invest in movies, they love movies. they believe in, the story, they believe in supporting filmmakers. But I also think there's a way to make some money.
Mhm.
So our total budget is 200K. We don't want to go over that, which is pretty low, especially for a film. But we don't have like big stars or whatever that we had to pay. So, and I think you can get over it with horror, because horror, there's such an audience, especially vampire. The audience is here. I have no doubt about it. And horror sells. It sells well. Like, it's the
Mhm.
genre that sells the best. So also a little less risky, for
Mhm.
investors. So yeah, by lowering the cost and making sure we're not spending over, too much money, the goal is it's going to be easier to get the return of investment for investors. And we really want investors to get their money back and more, so we get some money too, because
Sure.
we're paid after them, and also so they can reinvest in us.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
goal also.
Right.
So
Yeah.
everybody's happy. But I really truly think like investing in this kind of low budget movie can, I mean, there's always a risk, of course, but there's a way.
Mhm.
If we go theatrical release, and especially this kind of movie, if we go town by town, smaller town
Mhm.
in the US, it might take some times, but for sure there's some money to get out of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
How do you navigate the fine line between creative choices and budget constraints in a movie like this? It seems like that might fall in your lap more.
Yes.
Hey, I want to do this. I want to have explosions and a big bridge
Yeah.
scene and car chases.
So thankfully we don't have any of that, which is not
Yeah.
that complicated. But I think our big budget cost for production was the location. So that's something, we went scouting for location, make sure we had the best location we wanted, but also, affordable. And so we filmed like 1 week in Beacon, and so we had to move the crew also there and stay there, so have an Airbnb there. And then we decided also to film in the Bronx for the second week. The house was incredible, and it was the vampire house, but it also lowered the cost for us, so people could go back home and we didn't have to
Hmm.
lodging. So that's something, because most of the crew was coming from New York. So yeah, that's how you reduce cost also, and making sure, of course everyone was paid, but you make sure you film accordingly to everyone's schedule, make sure you don't
Hmm.
waste time and money on, things that you don't need, or, lots of rehearsal also, so that when you shoot, you know what you're shooting, and you're not wasting time. Yeah.
Now, so I can't remember if you said this or not, but is all shooting done, or you shot just for a couple weeks and there's going to be more shooting to
No,
come?
we're done. We're done with it.
Oh, all done.
All good. All good. It's in the.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So I guess at this point you're in editing, post production. What are the kind of next milestones
Yeah.
or steps that you're looking at over the next, I don't even know, 6 months, year, whatever it might be?
Yeah, so next phase is post production. So that's gonna be editing, sound mixing, coloring, music,
Hmm.
all that. So we just started nicely. And then after we have everything done, then that's gonna be the film festival phase. Like, we're gonna submit to film festivals and then try to find like distribution as well in the same time. So yeah, that's the big.
So distribution seems like it's the Wild West right now,
Yes.
considering that I've got 1,000 apps on my devices that I can watch
Yes.
something on. How do you guys navigate and think about distribution for maybe a film like this? Is there certain channels or certain platforms that work better, or just how do you guys think about it?
Yeah, there is actually, that's what is good with horror, is like there is specific horror streaming platform that we're
Mm,
looking at. Also, I think horror in general do better in streaming platform than any other genre, because people
mm,
really consume horror. Like, when
hmm.
you're like a horror fan, you do consume a bunch of horror, which is good for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the specific platforms, but I really want to do like a self-distribution if we don't find like a big distribution, which is very hard to find. So it's fine. Like, I really want to go to the self-distribution route, to do like drive-ins and theaters, and do like Q&As and events there, because we have such a theme like of vampire thing that I think we can really attract and do our
Yeah.
own marketing
Hmm.
town by town. It
Sure.
might take times, but we'll get there.
Yeah. And I guess, do you guys feel like this project needs to be somewhat seasonal, or, again, we're coming up to the Halloween, we're in that time right now, but do you feel like that's how it would be more consumed, or it's a project that could really be watched in February, let's say? I don't know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think it can be watched anytime, but of course, like the October season is really good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we actually did already like a event, spreadsheet where we can see, okay, that's all the event happening during October around New York, and
Mhm.
we're gonna try to actually get there just to start like building an audience and talking to, hey, we have this movie, just follow us. We have an Instagram account, so the more we get followers and the more we get people involved before, because I think like getting an audience starts very early on and we start
Yeah.
already. When we'll be able to release it, we'll have this community already know about the film and say, hey, we're screening there and there and there, so we're starting already building this audience. Yeah.
Gotcha. As somebody that's made films and your partner's made films, do you have to rebuild a new community each property? Or are you trying to think more of like, we're gonna build a community that likes vampires, I'm just, for this, and we're just gonna write movies that are gonna fit into, this community that we're building. How do you sort of think about
Yeah,
community building in this?
that's a good question. I don't want to stay in the horror genre.
Mhm.
I mean, I like it, but it's not specifically my
Right.
genre.
Yeah.
Though I really appreciate it. And Julia is more a horror geek, to be honest. She's like she loves it. So she might stay a little bit in it, but I'm also producing with like other partners. Personally, think my theme is more to produce content with like a very strong female driven, content. Like that's really what I want to do and focus on women filmmaker and women screenwriters and women
Mhm.
stories. So that's my personal, take on.
Yeah. So, and let's get maybe back over to the business a little bit. I'm in Michigan. We used to have amazing tax credits. We had a bunch of movies made here. I had a production company. I've got movies out there in the world that I've produced and fundraised for. Do you think about that sort of stuff on locations and where you're going and what comes next? Do you have those types of incentives in New York and where you shot and stuff?
Yeah, not so much. And I think we didn't spend that much money, to be
Mm,
honest, to get anything back. But which, it's like you need to spend a lot of money also to get some money
right.
back. So it's
Sure.
kind of like it depends what's your
Yeah.
strategy is. Our strategy it was to not spend too much.
Hmm.
But we decided to do in New York. I mean, New York is, yes, it's expensive, but also we have so many crew members and all the cast that we knew are from New York. So for us, it was actually very more beneficial
Hmm.
to actually shoot there and to, like I said, the second week, everyone could go back home, every day. So we didn't have to pay for lodging. So you really have to see, like, for each project, it will be different because the first one we filmed in France and we have like some tax credit from France because we filmed the entire shoot in France, but we also had some locations for free
Mm.
and, like lodging
Hmm.
for free because we filmed in a small village. So, you have to see like what works for each project, I would say.
Right, right. Moving back over, kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit more back over to distribution, like, you know, are you seeing this type of genre have more ability to get into smaller theaters or theatrical type rooms, maybe? Is it a little bit like alt comedy where it could be almost anything could be a theater room, or do you need to be more structured? I'm outside of Detroit, so we have a downtown area with a 100-year-old theater that has the unique movies, and then we have another movie theater that has the Superman, whatever that
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
movie. Like, are you looking for really specific type of places that their look and feel might also support the movie, right? Just
yeah.
the theme of the movie. Is that what you're kind of thinking about in
I
in
think so.
theaters and stuff?
If we can, yeah, definitely. And I'm also thinking about, yeah, the venue, but also how we can partner with like some local, vampire or horror stores or
Sure.
do like an event because I really believe in doing like Q&A at the end or meeting some cast and crew, whoever can be there or doing like a vampire theme,
Mm, right.
venue. Like I think that can be fun to really work with. And if the venue is like something specific to a horror or like a little, more indie, that can be cool too. But I think this movie can also be on like big theater, but
Hmm.
they're like a little harder to get good deals with. So it really depends
Yeah.
of that, I guess.
But do you make conscious decisions in post production and editing for you know, a big box office type vibe as opposed to streaming on my phone? I know you're not maybe in the editing room and stuff, but are you at least thinking like, well, this has to somewhat have a look and feel for it to be at that?
Yeah,
I ran recording studios. Some albums you got to compete with Taylor Swift at the end of
yeah,
the day,
yeah.
right? Like other songs, you're like, this is what it is,
No,
right?
no,
Like,
we're trying definitely to do the best movie as possible. So
mhm,
it has to be, I mean, when I'm talking to, the sound mixer, etc., I'm like, it needs to be released in big theaters. So we wanted to make sure we have all the requirements to screen in like huge, venues. So yeah,
mhm,
yeah. And if you can screen in big theaters, you can also look it at your iPhone or whatever.
right.
It will look good too.
Yeah. Yeah. What are like some of the things right now, sort of keeping you up at night? Obviously, there's fundraising and all these other things, but what is the thing that like, man, we got to get this right for this to be successful?
Yeah, I think I mean, it was a little crazy in September because of the production, so now it
Hmm.
came down a little bit, but we need to go back to it. So, yeah, right now will be mostly the finding the money to do post-production and marketing, but we're already, like I was telling you earlier, like, thinking about, like, getting, starting really to build this big community, so I'm doing that every day, like, trying to, oh yeah, there's this event
Hmm.
and this event. So let's strategize because we cannot be everywhere, but like how we can get the most out of everything and not lose time or, miss something that
Hmm.
can serve for the future. So yeah.
Yeah. So it is a big community, but it might be a saturated community with so many people going into it or just the amount of content around it. Do you have ideas or strategies to go in and break through some of the noise of a saturated genre?
Yeah, I think, I mean, going actually in person and talking to people, I think I used to do that when I did like theater festivals and it
Hmm.
works, So
Yeah.
I actually had someone in New York subway giving me a flyer for a short film screening. And I was like, oh my God, that's
Mm,
amazing. So I think really be there at the event and say, we just did a movie about this vampire theme. And yeah, it's in the making, but start following us. So when it's ready, you can watch it. I think just having this personal contact
mhm.
and I think just in general, having a personal touch, like really talking to the person and not just like putting ads everywhere,
Sure.
but creating like a real relationship. I think
Mhm, mhm.
that's my strategy.
Yeah. And how do you think about right now dripping out content? You've obviously created some stuff. You've got, you've filmed everything. How do you think about slowly putting out clips and
Yeah, yeah.
bite-sized nuggets of stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, right now it's very at the very beginning, so I need to see like what we can show, and without revealing too much. But like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's yeah, yeah. We're definitely gonna do that, for investors and for the public. But yeah, yeah, it's definitely in the plan.
Awesome. Well, where can people dive in if they're listening to this, they're liking what they're hearing? Where should we send people if they're interested?
Yeah, if they want to invest on Wefunder, like we have a page on Wefunder, and of course on Instagram, there's a Dream for Amy vampire movie.
Okay.
My Instagram as well, and I mean, you'll see on my Instagram, the Instagram of Amy.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can reach out to me too. Like I'm happy to I'm generally talking to investors, I do one-on-one meetings or we have a big Q&A coming in November 5th also. So I'll be posting that on WeFunder and on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn too. So that's a good way to communicate with me. And I communicate like that with investors. Yeah, the minimum to invest is $100. So it's pretty affordable. And that's also the point we went with funders, like to allow regular people,
Mhm.
and everyday people like us to actually invest in a movie and be part of it. Because for me, investors are really part of this adventure, and I really make sure we update very often. We did like some set, visit with some investors or even like via Zoom, but I really want to create this relationship with investors because they're I mean allowing us to do that. So I really want to give them back and teach them also about the process and how it
Mhm.
works and include them as much as possible.
Well, yeah, you're preaching to the choir. I've done it myself, and there's no better community than the people that put their money into the project,
Of
right?
course,
There's just
and those
they
are
are
the
the ones.
people
Yes,
uh, Share
and
it,
they want it to be successful, and they're going to be your champion, your cheerleaders.
of course.
Well, this was an amazing conversation. I love projects like this. Like I said, these are always in my heart. I love, creativity and stuff. I love using crowdfunding for it. So for everybody out there, obviously I'll have all the links in the show notes. Please go dive in, reach out, connect. But really great project. I'll let you get back to, talking to investors and
Yes,
making movies.
yes,
I appreciate you taking time out of your day. This was a great conversation.
yeah,
Thanks so
thank you
much.
so much for having me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks.